Hello there. We are doing some Old Smoky Moonshine cherry candies.
And this is my son, by the way.
Yep. But these aren't like your, what is it, cordial cherries?
Yeah.
These, as you can see, we have already went through, well, the camera woman has already went through and pre-cut.
And you'll get red fingers, you better wear gloves.
and pre-cut these because she has decided that for these, we're not going to go through the headache of the cherries. The cherries are a headache because they have their own challenges. This will be easier. It's more work cutting, but you're not going to have leakers. Not in the same way. So I got those pre-cut and wrapped so they don't dry out. And this little bottle is some cherry flavoring, and that is some strong stuff there.
Yeah.
And we got a pipette there. Most of the time I like to let the alcohol do its thing, but we'll put just a tiny little touch of that in there to boost.
Yeah, it's a little something different because we've, like he said, we've done cherry, so that was the alcohol itself. This will have a little bit of a flavor difference because of that flavoring that will be put into it. Okay, where was you
now at? For our filling, we're going off of a common one. We've used it for the peppermints and for the old Smoky Mountain Java cream liqueur videos. It's just sweetened condensed milk and powdered sugar. This is your binding agent, basically your glue. It'll hold powdered sugar together. And of course, whenever you add your alcohol, that will turn it kind of back into liquid. But if you add more sugar, it kind of binds back up. So really, as far as ratios, we just kind of go based on how much candy we want to make. So we're going to try to not put very, very much of this in there because we don't want to make a load of candies. So, plus, if you want to make several different kinds, because as you can see, we got other.
Yeah, we've got that. Andy's got a butter knife over there for.
So there's our sweetened condensed milk. So we'll scrape that little bit off. There's not much on there, but it will drizzle on down in there. There's nothing else in there at the moment.
And this is something really fun to do, and you don't have to add the alcohol, and you could actually do it with your younger children by not adding the alcohol. It's just a fun family activity. Me and him really enjoy it.
And so, I mean, as you can see, that's just a barely little bit out of that can right there, you know. And so we might add more to it, but I wanna add a little bit of the old sugar to it and see what the amount looks like whenever it starts to bind. And
then set that over here.
Then if I want to add more, you can always add more, but when taking out's a different story. So
okay.
Now we don't have a scoop in here.
Okay, well here, you hold this and I'll get a scoop.
I've got a little bag here.
Oh yeah.
It's almost empty, so I'm just going to dump this little bag in there.
And sorry if this is a little shaky. We are using the phones, so. No video camera for this one. Okay. And if you don't have a KitchenAid, that's okay. You can use a normal mixer, or you could even mix it by hand.
Yeah, you can hand beat it if you want to.
Yeah. Just work your arm muscles out.
Put it on low. And then it's just watching it.
And you already tell we're going to need a little more milk, probably. The reason we're trying to make smaller amounts is, you know, this will make a large, if you make a large amount, you're going to make a large amount of candy, and you're going to sit there doing it for quite some time as well.
So we got a nice consistency there. I want to kill her and lift it, and as you can see, it's not really runny.
No. Is that going to make quite a few?
But as you can see, it does drip. And something to keep in mind, as I said earlier, the alcohol,
Yes.
you have to add more sugar to it, regardless, just because you're adding a liquid. Now, if you want it runny, you don't have to add as much sugar. If you want it dry, like flattening it out and cutting it, you have to add a lot more sugar. So
when do you want to add this in?
we can add that in.
That's what I figured. Go ahead and get that out of the way. And
don't know if they can see that.
yeah, it's the cherry flavor. Yeah, they can see it right now. And he's just going to use what they call a pipette.
Because it's strong.
They work really, those little squeezy things work really well for all sorts of things. Cooking. I get them to use in making bath and body products.
What you think about that right there?
That looks good. I actually even used them when I was younger to hand feed
That was about
baby birds.
5 drops there.
So he's used about 5 drops. It is very strong.
Plus, you've already got the
flavor.
Yes. Same flavor from what you're using.
That will just give it a little bit more of a kick, and the scent is kind of really out there. It's got a good scent.
Now I'm just mixing it in.
Right. Oh, it smells so good. You smell it?
Oh, yeah, I smell it.
That will give it a little bit more aroma, too. Oh, it smells wonderful. Wow, mercy.
It might take a little bit of the bite out of the moonshine.
Might.
Although, to be honest, and that's something to talk about, the sugar tends to take the bite out of the alcohol.
Now, tell them what you mean by bite. You're talking about that harsh flavor, right?
Not as in the taste of the alcohol, as in peppermint schnapps, you still taste the peppermint. The apple vodka, you still taste the apple. The Mountain Java, cream liqueur, Old Smoky's moonshine, you still taste the coffeeness to it. What I'm talking about is, that's moonshine. That's that moonshine
burn.
smooth burn.
Yeah.
There's that vodka burn. It kind of removes that element to it. And where I've had people go, they've baked that. They've baked those. There's no active alcohol in that.
But there is.
But as you can see, I'm not baking it. That's what the powdered sugar does.
Now, what are you going to go for now? Your alcohol? Okay. Okay, time for the alcohol.
So you don't have to buy these in a jar like this already. In fact, this is pretty expensive.
Yeah, You can actually go to the grocery store, buy you a can of the cherries, drain them, and then pour over them like some Everclear or some vodka or even moonshine if you have it. Whatever, I think clear works better in my opinion.
No, I'm just getting a good.
And that is that is a skull, actually a skull shot glass there. He's just trying to getting them out there, and then we'll go from there. If we need more, we'll do more. If we need less, we'll.
And that's got cherries in it,
just
so.
not pour it in there.
There we
Yeah,
go. Right around my eye level.
Okay.
And so, what I'm gonna do is, and you'll see why. I'm gonna cut this on, then I'm gonna add it, and you can hear the noise difference between the mixer without the alcohol and with the alcohol, as in how wet
Yeah.
your filling gets from adding alcohol. And it'll be red.
Oh, look how pretty. Look at the color change.
And now the lift. And look at how it's just a stirring. It's because you're adding liquid to your mix.
So now we know what that means.
So you got to add more sugar, which bulks up the amount you're going to be making.
You done with this?
We'll see.
Okay, I'll set it right here.
So you don't have to put a bunch of sweetened condensed milk, but that is your bonding agent.
And now what are you going to?
I got to put some more powdered sugar in there.
Do I need to get you a bowl or a plate or something to set that on? Oh, you're just moving it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You want a cup? Nope. He's just going to pour it straight from the bag. Just a guess. I actually have some chocolate molded up back there, if you can see it on that pan. That's leftover chocolate that can actually be remelted down.
Now if you look at the consistency, it's way thicker already. And of course, there's some sugar on the sides that we'll have to scrape in. And I'll be doing that right here in a second.
Okay. Oh, this. I would use this.
Well, I'll use a knife.
Okay, well, go ahead. Only thing about using the knife, people, is it will scratch your bowl. He uses a knife, and I normally use the little rubber thing there.
So there's a big chunk right there. Get that in there.
And I usually hit right in the bottom down there in the middle because your mixer usually won't go right in the center in the middle of the mix. Okay.
It's a very strawberry pink color.
Yeah, that's pretty. Looks pretty good. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fine.
And see, there's some hiding up on the mixer itself.
Okay. And then I got you that plate to put your...
But yeah, I mean, you can just see, you know, the thickness of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we've added that sugar in, and so now it just comes down to how thick do you want it? Do you want it thicker, or but do you want it thicker than that?
Let me see. I guess mix that up and let's... because you can actually do it however thick you want it, basically.
Yep.
I don't want it as thick as paste, honestly, but I don't want it too runny. What do you think? See, when we add those cherries, that may change the consistency of it a little bit because they still have a little liquid to them. So, I'm not sure. What do you think?
I don't know.
I think it's probably got enough moonshine in it, don't it? Okay. Well, it's running. That's for sure. I said when we put them cherries in there, it's going to loosen that up a little bit.
Well, that's what you think it'll do.
But it might not. Exactly. So I guess put our cherries in there and find out. I don't think we're going to need that whole thing.
What do you mean?
Of those. I cut enough for a big batch.
Oh, you're not going to use all of those?
I don't think we're going to need all of those. I think we're going to use part of those. I got another, remember, we've got another thing planned.
So
like half of those is what I'm thinking. And save half. And I'll see what it looks like. See there, that liquid? You'll have to use your knife probably. Oh, maybe not. Okay, one more. Some more.
I mean, that's about half there.
Is it? Looks like you need a little more. Okay, hold it
No, I
over.
think that's about half.
Okay. Okay. So you just want them kind of mixed in. That's what I'm thinking. That's the way I'm thinking I want to do it. Does that look like enough? I need a little more. Does that look too wet to you?
We'll see whenever we turn it off and lift it up.
Okay, you think that's enough cherries?
I mean, there's plenty in there. You just can't see them because they're covered in.
You just want enough. Okay, the way I wanted to do it was enough cherries to where you're going to get some cherry pieces in every.
See all the cherry pieces on it?
Yeah. It's really runny. Think about putting a few more cherries in there. Just a few. because I'm not going to need that many for that next recipe we're doing. Okay, there you go. That's about it. That's about what I'm going to need for that next recipe. Yeah, we've got another thing we're going to be doing. Okay, now he's going to add a little more sugar just to get it back up to a consistency that's workable for us. That's looking better, ain't it? And as you see, you add things, it changes the consistency, so therefore you have to add more sugar, therefore you end up with more. It's going to make more candy.
Add a little bit more. And see what went from just a little bit of condensed milk in the bottom turned into quite a bit of filling.
Yeah, that's a lot more than you think it is. It's more than it looks like because...
Well, here's our molds. You know, and we're not just sticking the filling in here. It's going in, you know, we're doing chocolate candies with fillings, so.
Yeah, and then actually we did a video that's on my son's channel making, what was it, Moonshine Java coffee?
Java Mountain Cream Liqueur, Old Smoky's Moonshine.
And we actually show how you can make those, use these molds here to make your chocolate look a lot fancier.
We also go into a lot more depth on ratios and stuff on there,
so
and different equipment and stuff.
And I actually shared his video on my channel, but if you want to check out his channel, it's the Filament corner.
There we go. See, it's already a lot thicker than it was.
Yeah.
It's just dripping so much because there's cherry pieces, so there's more weight than if it was just the liquid itself.
Cover those cherries back up over here. I want them to dry out.
Well, what do you think? Are you wanting a runny filling, or are you wanting more?
I don't want it runny, but I don't want it too thick either. Is that real runny? Runny
It is with the cherry pieces.
Yeah, runny can be hard to put into your mold, but then again, I don't really want it thick. So let me see you. Can you dig that down in there? Let me just get a look. See. So you could actually spoon that into your mold actually.
And whenever you bite into it,
It'll be a little more
obviously,
gooey.
it's a little
Of course,
more
it's
gooey.
going to set up a little bit, probably. A little bit thicker.
In the fridge.
Yeah, that'll change the texture of it a little bit. I think, to me, that looks all right. We haven't done any really gooey ones other than our chocolate-covered cherries. Correct?
Yep.
Yeah, let's go with that. Okay, you want to...
I gotta get the rest of that sugar mixed in. Alright, we've swapped out the mixer for the chocolate melter.
Yep. We got it right here, and I've got some of this, the white chocolate in here. And with the white chocolate, we keep it on low because it will burn if you
It
put it
can,
on.
yeah.
Now on the dark chocolate or the like the milk chocolate, I will cut it up. If you don't have a candy melter or chocolate melter, you can use a double boiler. You can actually do it in a microwave if you want to, but you have to just do it very, little amounts and stir, and little amounts and stir of time. Or you can make your own double boiler by using a big pot of water, and then you take a smaller pot and you put it inside of there, and you melt it that way. But we're lucky enough we have the chocolate melter. Now, the way I'm going to do this is, okay, I like to take just a little bit up on there, and then I smear it. And don't worry, you make a mess, you make a mess. It will get on your mold, but it'll pop off and it'll wash right out or off of it.
And you may have holes.
Yeah, you may have holes that pockets that come up, or that where you might have missed a little spot, but you can fix that. That's fixable. And you'll find that out after you put your filling in there. Okay, that looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do next. I'm only doing round ones for this. No squares for this one. And we prefer to do, if we're going to be doing white chocolate, we prefer to do it first.
Mm-hmm.
And then wash everything down. Okay. And I'm trying to just do a thin layer, because if you do have cracks and you have to fix it, if you used a thin layer, it's easier to just put a thin layer back in there and stick it right back down in the mold to fix it. Look over my fingers, my nails. I'm giving them a rest, and I've got red fingers from the cherries. It will stain you. Okay, this one's giving me a bit of a time here for some reason.
And it's giving you them air pockets.
Yeah, it is. Definitely. And this white chocolate does not handle the same as the milk chocolate, which I don't even think that, to me, the dark chocolate doesn't handle the same either. Okay, that looks all right.
Yep.
One more, and after I get this one done, you want to tell them what I'll be doing with it?
You'll be sticking it in the freezer.
Yeah, I like to just set it in the freezer.
Let it chill.
Let it chill. It'll harden up. And then it'll be ready to put our gooey center in there. That looks good. Well,
yep.
Got a little speck right there. Right there. Okay. Okay, I think I got it.
Yep.
We'll bring you back. Okay, while we're waiting on that to chill, I thought me and him had the idea we might show you how you can decorate this up. And I'm just using a cooking stick. Or that's what I call it. I use it for stirring and such. You can use
the pattern starting to emerge.
Yeah, you
already.
can use a flat, like a wooden spoon works really well. If it's got a flat, see that's flat, that's blunt. And then I just dip it in there, get a little bit of chocolate on there. Another thing you can do is you can actually add a little bit of, you don't want to add much though, like a drop of food coloring. And I could actually make these red. I could make them green.
Holiday.
Very festive. And as you can see,
but look at that. That adds a second layer to your candy creation.
Now, whenever I melt my dark chocolate or my Hershey's, whichever I use,
we recommend putting it in the freezer.
Yeah, this will go in the freezer before I ever add anything else. But you see that? Okay, that is the way I do the square ones. Now, the circles I'm not as fond of. My son really had these down pat.
Yeah, I use a knife.
The skewer, the wooden skewer did not work good for this. I tried.
Yeah, you can see the line work in there.
But you're just basically just mashing it and dragging a little bit of your.
But yeah, this adds such a nice little detail if your molds have this, and it will make people think, wait a minute, did they make these or did they buy them from somewhere?
Well, and not only that, but it'll show them that you put effort, you put your time into really making something look good for someone else.
It's like I always say, if you make something by hand and they think it was good enough that it come from from a store at somebody professional, professionally, somebody who does it for a living done it, then you done something right.
Yeah. And, you can, like I said, you can go to my son's channel or you can check out where I shared his video. And that on there, you can actually see where I did do red and green as a decoration for him. We showed it, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah, that is in that video. I think that is the Mountain Java Moonshine candy video. But as you can see, there we go. And you can just see as it dries, you can scrape away the excess if you want. Now you can leave that excess and it makes it look really frosty. I noticed on the ones where I left the excess. But there you go. Okay, now you see that's been in the freezer. Hopefully you can tell.
Yep.
It's hard. So now I'm going to take me some. I'm going to try using my butter knife, but I could probably use a spoon if I want to. But you see, I'm just getting me a clump here. And then I'm just going to put it inside there. I don't want mine really tall since this is runny. I don't have to do that, so I can get a nice flatter look to my...
The great thing about this mix is it's not the same color as chocolate.
Exactly.
You can see leaks.
Oh, yeah. And you're going to have to watch for leaks because it's running. So, yeah. But you see how I'm putting it down in there. I'm not bringing this one up to the top. Some of them that we do, we bring it all the way up.
And you can see the cherry chunks.
And it smells awesome. It smells really good. That moonshine and that little bit of cherry flavor, candy flavoring, is really making a difference on it.
Yeah, boy, they jumped on them candies I took over to the workplace. I brought some bags so they could take them home and enjoy them at home. And They loaded them up some bags.
And then we also do Christmas gifts.
Well, that was my Christmas gift to the workplace.
And then we've got some family members that will receive some as well. Okay, now, well, see, I could actually use a spoon and probably not make as big of a mess on the sides right there. You can see that. Okay, now that's it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go put this into the freezer. I'm going to let that set up. And I'm going to bring it back so that if I do this now, if I was to cover this now, all it's going to do is that chocolate is too warm. It's going to blend in with our mix. And we're not going to have a actual center that's different than the outside. So I'll freeze it. Okay, I've removed it from the freezer. This is set up. Now I'm just going to show you. Look at this. Do you see the difference? See, I couldn't do that before. It was more of a runny consistency. So it has been set up in the freezer. Now, I'm going to cover. Now, simply I just take it. And since I've got it set up, it's going to cover beautifully. I didn't fill it too full. But you do want to meet your edges where the warm chocolate meets the cold chocolate. Because that's what's going to adhere the two pieces together.
Yeah. It don't happen often, but sometimes we do get chocolate separation.
Yeah. And you want to try to prevent it if you can, but if you can't, you can fix it. Like in the actual...
yep, it's not the end of the world.
No, in the Java, where we did that video recipe...
we had one.
Oh my goodness. Had one completely pull apart, but yes, I fixed it. Warm chocolate is like glue. Remember that. So you can adhere it back together.
Don't that just look wonderful? And of course the warm chocolate is it's warming up the cold filling, and the cold filling is cooling down the warm chocolate, you know. And this will be going back into the freezer to set up fully for mold release. And
whenever I when I get my chocolate up here like this, sometimes I will go like that to let anything come out, it's like that, see? And you get a smaller amount. But I do that whenever I've got almost full. I've got it almost full. Okay, which I haven't got this one almost full. So, well, that worked out just fine there, didn't it? Filled that one right up. Now let's see.
But I think these turned out wonderful.
Oh yeah.
I was talking off the camera while I was waiting. I said these remind me of the box candies you get in the expensive boxes. You pay too much for.
Yeah. But these here have got such a good smell, and they just they smell wonderful. Okay, so this will go back into the freezer. Yep. I have not put this in the freezer yet. I do that whenever I get ready to use it, but there, I'll put that back in the freezer now. Okay, now I just wanted to come on here while that is in the freezer and show you. I have milk chocolate here. I have dark chocolate here. Now, here's the thing. When using this, I don't mix anything with it. Because it doesn't really take to it too kindly. But when I use these two, I actually mix a little bit of beeswax. Not a lot, but I will shave some in there. It's important to shave it because beeswax is very hard, so you've got to melt it.
You also make sure that it is food grade. You don't want a bunch of junk getting in there.
No, it needs to be food grade.
And another thing to mention is you can also use, what is it? Is it coconut?
You can use coconut oil. You can also, some people even use paraffin. I don't use the paraffin, but I have used the coconut oil. But it will make a shinier chocolate.
It'll also help if you're shipping
Well, that's this. This will
Yep,
help
this
if you're
will.
shipping. And this will make a
Beeswax.
shinier piece of chocolate too. The coconut, for me, I did not feel like it added much in the way of hardness, but it did add shine. Now, also, my son had an ordeal the other year using a cheap
Yep,
chocolate.
using the cheap chocolates.
I will let him tell you about that.
Using cheap chocolates in the chocolate melter, they would get hard, as in you would be sitting there, they would melt, and then if you left them, they would become hard. They would no longer be this nice, soft, melted chocolate. They would become a hard piece of molten chocolate in the actual chocolate melter, and I had to apply oil to get them to soften back up into a nice malleable state. But that was with some cheaper chocolate. My best advice is, if you're going to use cheaper chocolate and you have that experience, remember it and use a different chocolate.
Yeah. No, we had some of that, and I tried it, and I'm like, oh my God, how did you even use this? And he's like, Mom, I had to add oil to it, and I'm like, not again. So if I can afford it, I'm going to buy a chocolate that actually melts for me in the right way. Yeah. So now I've got these out. See here, with these molds, if you pull on it, my son's a little bit more rough about pulling
And they
it.
can pop out.
Yeah,
so.
they can pop out and go flying across the room. But if you see here, voila! Looky there.
Look at that, baby.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, I want to show you. You see the pink? But it's not all the way through. You see there? It's still got chocolate on it. Now, right there's a little bit darker of a spot. Now, there's two ways I could fix that. I'm going to show you. I can either take some more wet chocolate, and I can do the same thing. I can put a thin coat in here. I can take this and I can stick it back down in there like so. Stick it back in the freezer, and it will adhere and it will still look perfect. Or I can just very simply, because that's a tiny, teensy weensy little spot, take my little, right there, voila, there you go. It's like putting a Band-Aid on it. Super glue.
Yep.
And there you have your beautiful chocolates. So you can see the pink. See there? But it's not leaking through. See, even right there.
And you can see the ridges on that.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine those.
Yeah.
Where the ridges are white and your main body is a different color.
See, now this one here's got a leak. See there? And actually, there's another spot. I'm going to show them. Okay, I'm going to show you how I would repair that, because it's got too many places on it. So, I'll get those all out. Here's the bad one.
You guys are
Okay.
getting a good lesson
What
here.
I do is, I will go back and I will just do the same thing over again. Basically, I put a nice thin coating, not thick.
And remember, you've only got a couple of leaking spots.
But
So doing a whole new coating means that more than likely you're going to Band-Aid it.
yeah, and the thing is, the reason I prefer to cover the whole thing like I would if I was, doing it to begin with, is because you want to have it nice and pretty again. And if you only do specks, you're not going to have that same pretty consistency there. So now, you see how I've done that. I've got it ready. This is our bad one. Okay, I'm going to put it back in there, like so. Now, if you've got leaks around the side, like you can see, there's one. I'll take just a tad bit right here, and I'm going to go around. And I know some people's like, that's too much work. Well, if you like doing something, it's not really work, so.
If you want them to look like a professional made them, you got to go through professional lengths.
And if you don't want leakers. I prefer not to have them leaking. Oh, yeah. Now, that's what I will do whenever they need it. When they don't, I'll go put that back in the freezer. I'll pop it back out, and it's going to be perfect. Okay, out of the freezer. I'm going to show you. Look. Perfect. No leaks. We still got a little pink, but there's no leaks. Look at that.
That's beautiful.
And it's perfect. So that's a perfect piece of chocolate right there. So if you like the content that I create or my son creates, check out his channel, which is the Filament Corner. I'll put, well, actually, I have that link in my description box. You can go check him out. And like I said, we've done chocolate on his channel too. We've done the Smoky Mountain Java Cream Liqueur. We've done that on his channel. We also done, we've done a short of, I think, peppermint. Yeah.
We did a short of those.
Yeah.
Peppermint schnapps, peppermint patties. The best way to do peppermint patties.
That is also on his channel, but remember to give a thumbs up. Please do subscribe, and we appreciate you watching and being here with us. And till next time.